Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today I have a couple guys from Rotary. This
Warren County Rotary Club.
It's a Warren. Well, they have to specify because we have two, which is great because we get twice as much work done.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Michael Williams here. He's the current president of the Rotary Club of Warren County, and Ellen Aders will be pulling up right behind you, right?
9 days and 9 hours.
Who's counting?
Nobody.
Glenn Wood. He's also our councilman, but also on Rotary.
Mm-hmm. I'm the service chair this year and have agreed to be that again this coming year.
Well, you're good at that.
Glenn's also a past president of the Martinsville Club.
Yeah. So he's good at that. He's good at that service part. So we're here today just to kind of get a little update on what your club has been doing this past year and maybe what the plans are for the future. Why don't you go ahead and fill us in?
Sure. So this past year has been very busy. We probably collectively contributed over 1,000 service hours to our community and world through various things, whether it's trash pickup, cleaning up the Greenway, walking trail, cleaning up Kendrick Lane, which is the gift that keeps on giving.
And we do that, seems like, every quarter.
There's a lot of behaviors in life that confuse me, but I understand, but I've never understood littering.
No.
Yeah.
It's the most bizarre behavior that I think I've ever dealt with. Anyway, so that being said, and we sponsor several youth clubs here in the community. We sponsor 2 early act clubs, which is the elementary school version of Rotary, kindergarten through 5th grade. We sponsor the clubs at Ressie Jeffries Elementary and E. Wilson Morrison Elementary, where I also work.
Right, and we've done a lot of stories on that. You over there at E. Wilson and at the schools, the kids really get involved, and you did one Memorial Day and
a Veterans
and
Day,
you did a
Memorial
blessing box.
Day. We did the blessing box.
And
a lot of
community garden.
Community garden. We if you get a chance to ride down Union Street over to the side where some of the trailers are. Experiential learning cottages.
Yeah.
Over there by our playground. In conjunction with a Title I grant that we got through the Warren County Educational Endowment, we were able to put together 6 greenhouse pods. And through that, we had a Title I night where the kids came and planted bulbs, and then the early act kids came in and planted vegetables. And right now, the vegetables are coming up, and we've got carrots, we've got onions, we've got cabbage. One of our gladiolas has blossomed, and it's just all the children. The children did all the work. We got some rain buckets to help capture rain, which unfortunately we haven't had a lot of lately. But thank God for what was in there. We were been able to water the plants.
It's amazing. Young minds see those plants grow. That I don't think they even know where food comes from.
No, they think it comes from Martin's. They think it grows there.
They see that plant grow, and then when you pull it out and there's a carrot, that's kind of
Yeah. So what we did this year was we had them start them in their classroom, and then we had them take one home for their families and whatnot, and then we had them plant one in the garden. And once the ones in the garden come up, they can take their own harvest home, or they can donate them. We'll donate to our local food bank, our food pantry, and one of the other really cool things that our kids did this past year was a change wars we do every year for able forces. And this year they collected over $1,200 to for local veterans families that were having a tough time. And these are 400 kids at a Title I school where 90% of them live at or below the poverty level. But they saw a need, and they just pulled their little change out of their dirty pockets and said, "Here, take it." Yeah. They also write letters to nursing home patients during the holidays because it gets a little lonely for them. Some of our kids went over and actually sang for the nursing home. Our chorus did that this past year, and Ressie Jeffries they did their own beautification project in front of their school, pulling weeds and not realizing those weeds come back. But that's another conversation with them. But in their mind, they're
that's
helping
for the next class.
Bingo. Right. They're beautifying that, and one of our biggest ones, which was really cool, was our Skyline Middle School Interact run by Sarah Kenny. The faculty member over there, she they wanted to raise money for what we call in Rotary our wheelchair project. Our club had raised enough money to buy about, I think it was 7 or 8 wheelchairs, and Sarah happened to be at that meeting, so she went back and talked to her kids about it. We zoomed in Woody Sadler, who's our district wheelchair person. He talked to the kids about it. They got excited about it. One of the kids in that club happens to be the child of the principal at Skyline High, so she challenged her mom to get their kids to raise some money. So then we started thinking, well, why don't we get all of our Interact clubs to start doing that? We wound up raising enough money to buy 28 wheelchairs.
Wow.
And this is a bunch of kids in Front Royal that did this, Warren County. And so it does my heart good when we see young people in service, and when we can just forget about all the other craziness that might be going on around us, and you can just see kids who only care about what they can do positive for their community.
Right.
And that's the youth side. On the international side, we have sponsored a school called Project Ueri in a favela, in a slum area in Brazil. Since the inception of our club. That was our first international project, and we continue to sponsor them. And if you ever get a chance to go on YouTube and type in Project Ueri Orchestra, we bought violins for those kids a few years ago. They created their own orchestra, and it'll just bring tears to your eyes. Just that some of the poorest kids in that country are becoming.
I don't think people
musicians.
realize the scope of Rotary. I mean, it's an international organization.
We're in
literally.
most every country, like 198.
Yeah, and we combined with Front Royal this year. Instead of the us versus them mentality that our world likes to have, we were like, look, what can we do to help? And polio still is our biggest thing. It's still in Pakistan and Afghanistan. And so we got together for an event at On Cue, and we decided on On Cue because we were like, a lot of people only see Rotary as the old white men's club from the early 1900s, and they don't realize that, at least in our club, there's more women than there are men, and that you said it there. That's how we get things done, And we wound up raising over $1,200 just bringing awareness to it. People in On Cue, that's just regular patrons, asking us what Rotary is and giving us their perceptions of what they grew up thinking Rotary was, and learning more about Rotary and seeing people in their 20s and 30s, not just in their 70s and 80s, doing this and coming together for a really cool cause and doing something positive for our community.
Well, I have seen a lot of difference in Rotary in this community over the last 20 years, just in the way it was organized then and now, because now we have much. You were the young person then, right?
I was. Hey, when I joined Rotary 15 years ago, I was the youngest person in the club. It was the Rotary Club of Linden at the time. We met at the Apple House.
Right.
I take that back. Katie Tennant was actually the youngest person. I was the second youngest person in our club.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, this ain't good.
So fresh ideas, and that's how things get done. It's all about collaboration and working together.
Absolutely.
It's about the long-term goal. We keep our eyes focused on where we're going, and this other stuff kind of disappears and just keep heading that direction.
What's the need, and how can we help meet the need?
So, and you do that with this 4-way test. Is that correct?
Correct. The 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And with our young people, we just simply say, if the answer to any of that is no, stop it.
Right.
And one of the things that we've impressed upon our kids is to hold each other accountable throughout the day if you see them doing that. And don't come to my office yelling at me saying Bobby Joe violated the 4-way test, because you probably did too. So
By just telling you.
By just telling me. But
telling you.
just say to them, hey, don't forget, we're an early act, and we we have to do this.
So all these projects, you look at it, will it pass the test before you move forward?
Amen.
Yeah.
We had an interesting project this year that we just finished up last month, Mike, and that's the landscaping at the corner of John Marshall and Commerce Avenue there at the CVS area and up John Marshall past Weichert. We had some old landscape in there. The pear trees were growing up in the power lines. Some bushes made it difficult and unsafe to try to pull out of there. We got a district grant, which they matched our contribution, somewhere north of $7,000. We partnered with the town for the manpower to remove all the brush and fix a drainage area there. ACES and the tree stewards, which you promote a lot. They figured out the correct species and what we wanted to see there. And we had a work day at Rotary. It's not just about writing a check. It's getting your hands dirty doing service. We planted all that material you see along Commerce and up John Marshall. Again, with a big assist from the town of Front Royal. And the beautification committee is going to come in there and do colors. They're going to change the color out throughout the year. So it not only was a collaborative grant between our club and the district, but involved tree stewards, ACES, the town of Front Royal, and beautification.
Right.
And now you have a corner on our corridor coming into town.
Right.
It looks
Yeah,
so much better.
That's an entrance corridor.
It is.
You know,
It is.
and I drove through there the other day. I thought just something looks different. I didn't really even notice that it had changed because it just,
We're working on.
it works on it. That's
we're
good.
working
I mean,
on some sort of signage there, saying in collaboration, the Rotary Club of
Sure,
Warren
sure.
County did this landscaping project.
Yeah.
It's not about the pat on the back for us, as Michael said earlier. We do a lot of things around the community. Our trash pickup days. We will target something that needs to be done, and we just show up and do it where there's not necessarily any money involved.
Yeah, somebody was saying something the other day to me about the Greenway Walking Trail, and they saw our sign there that said, "This trail kept clean by the Rotary Club of Warren County." And I just said, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I'm proud of my club, and I'm proud that we do that. I'm more proud that people that don't understand my town and come in to visit my town come in and see these beautiful trees and see this beautiful
Greenway.
waterway
Sure.
and this beautiful creek instead of a bunch of buggies from Martin's in the water and a bunch of trash. And I care more about that than anything else because we are a tourist destination, and that's really the bread and butter of our community.
Yeah. Everybody think, the town or the government will take care of that. And,
Well, the town has limited resources. I can tell you that firsthand. And whenever an organization or Amy and I adopted Strasburg Road, I mean, just as a couple, we'll pick up a few times a year, a quarter of a mile, 3/4 of a mile. But that allows our public works employees to go out and patch that pothole in front of your house or to do other things that are necessary to keep the town running, not necessarily a nicety.
sure.
But on the other side, when we talk about cash contributions, we support numerous organizations like the ARC, the House of Hope. You're going to have to help me, Michael.
Well, we have a shred day coming up.
Oh, yeah.
June 27th.
Right.
It's free. It's at the Front
Royal
Royal
Volunteer
Fire Department
Right.
on the bypass on Commerce, right across from pavement. Costs absolutely nothing. It's a community event. People can bring all their tax forms, whatever, all their papers that they hope the government doesn't find in their basement.
Right, exactly.
As long as it's not. Well, you know what? I'm not going to go there. But
You see how he goes down that road.
Yes. The rabbit hole.
middle name is Rabbit Hole. Anyway, so but if people want to make a donation, anything people wish to donate goes to the fire department.
And I want to give a shout out to Front Royal Federal Credit Union. They co-sponsored with us this year in helping us provide this service to the citizens. And we don't ask anything for return. If you pull up, we'll take the stuff out of your car, we'll put it in a shred truck. And if you want to do a donation, as Michael said, it goes to the fire department for allowing us to use their.
And I'm gonna have some early
parking lot.
kids out there helping as well, and they'll be out there having a good time.
I think
Well,
with
I
the
always say
promotion-
get there early because
Yeah.
the truck fills up.
Yeah, I mean, when the
does.
truck is
It
full or
does.
the witching hour hits, I mean, we could only get them for a specific time. And
Right.
I know people would say, why don't you do it on the weekend? We cannot find a shredding company that
Yeah,
can get
it's-
employees to do this on the weekend.
Right.
So it's another one of the labor shortages.
yeah.
But hey, we've been promoting this through you guys. Thank you. Through Facebook, we have a big banner down there now. So, bring out your stuff.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. But
I got a box full.
Hey
We're
man,
bringing.
but something else that's going on that I want the community to know about is the grant that we're doing for this year for my presidency is we're renovating the playground at Leslie Fox Kaiser Elementary School. I heard that they were trying to raise money for it for the last couple of years, and I was like, huh. So I drive by and I see this jungle gym that I played on when I was 11 years old, and I'm 58, and I'm like, I don't know, that's a good idea. Anyway, so I engaged Principal Vaca and Assistant Principal Logan and said, hey, what exactly is going on? And it was just opening the communication to find out what they needed, and then finding out how insane playground equipment costs. And our club we built the playground at Linden Park at the old turkey farm.
Right.
And then we renovated the playground at E. Wilson Morrison Elementary School years ago. And then we wound up becoming known as the playground people.
That's right.
And which is fine with me.
And the reading book people.
Yeah, that and the reading book
Right,
people.
we have the reading book machine.
So Rotary has this thing. The grants, the way the grant system works is with the beautification project. We did it by ourselves, so we were able to apply for up to $4,000 with one club. If you have a second club joining, you can apply for up to $6,000 as long as you can match that. If you can have 3 clubs, you can apply for up to $9,000, 4 for up to 12. So obviously, I would have loved to have been able to raise $12,000 and have somebody match it. The reality of we're a small club. We were able to raise $6,000 through our annual bike ride, our ride with Rotary.
Right.
Despite every obstacle you could have possibly thrown in our way this year, we were able to raise enough money to apply for a $6,000 matching collaborative grant. And the third Rotary Club in our area, the Rotary Club of the Northern Shenandoah Valley, which kind of rotates between here, Clark County, Frederick County, Winchester. They meet a couple of times a month. They meet mostly by Zoom or at a restaurant. They were able to raise some money to help us so we could have 2 clubs go in. So now we're going to be able to provide, instead of $8,000, $12,000 towards their renovation work. Through that, Kiwanis said, what can we do to help? And they were able to raise about, through their matching grant, a total of $10,000. So we're hoping that that's going to be enough to buy this. It's a swing set with adaptive equipment to help children with disabilities be able to enjoy swinging just as much as any other child.
I think kids need to get back to that. I seen a cartoon the other day where they said, go outside and play on the playground equipment. They said they were sitting in the seat playing on their phone, so put a big sign and no phones.
Well, to that end, we just bought it'll be installed here in the fall. It's called a buddy bench for E. Wilson Morris. I'll let Glenn talk to that. He understands what it would be.
A buddy bench, I forget where the idea came from. We read about it online. It's going to be a red bench, and it's known as the buddy bench. So if you go outside today and you don't have anybody to play with, you go sit on the bench. And that says, the message is, I'd like to have somebody to play with. And, hey, Michael, come on, let's go hit the swings or the jungle gym or whatever. So, that hopefully will get installed before the school year. The interesting thing, Mike already mentioned, this playground equipment is out of sight expensive.
We used to just put ropes over a tree and tie a piece of wood to it.
Now, because of all the liability, you have to buy it from a company. They ship it, they install it, and they have the liability. So, it probably is 3 times as much as it should be. Correct. But if a child would be injured, it would fail. It doesn't fall back on the school system. It falls on the manufacturer or installer.
Yeah.
But that makes it very difficult. E. Wilson Morrison has similar equipment. LFK will keep some of theirs. We'll go in and refurbish it. We're allowed to, sand it and paint it. But the nice thing is LFK is just finishing their renovations inside. So now the children will have a spiffied up playground to use, additional equipment to use. We'll go in there. We'll do things that we're allowed to do, like paint, mulch under the equipment, things like that.
But that playground's also for the community. Any child can go there, whether you're a private school, public school, homeschool, whatever. If you're a visitor coming to the area.
If you live in that area where the kids can walk to it, or even parents drive to it like they do many other parks.
Sure,
absolutely.
But the school system allows it to be used for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it's, kind of a twofer.
Sure, that's great. Well, I tell you, I can't say enough about all our organizations in town. You mentioned Kiwanis and the Ruertons and you name it. They all, that's what makes our community so special and the things that we do. It's great that they all come together and, we're not alone.
We're not alone, and there's
it needs to be an us, not an I.
Right. There's no I in we. Is that what they say?
Yes, no, yeah.
If I may, I'd like to give a plug. We have a big fundraiser coming up in September called Boots and Bourbon. We've had 2 of them so far last year, and this year we'll continue at the Warren County Fairgrounds at the 4-H barn.
But the new 4-H barn.
The new 4-H barn, yeah.
Not the one that I showed cattle at when I was 11.
Again, the nice barn. But Boots and Bourbon last year provided us with $15,000. In the past, we'd given $1,000.
We actually raised over $40,000, but the grants the service committee, which Glenn leads, recommended and the board approved that we give out 5 $3,000 scholarships with 2 of those scholarships going to children entering trade or community school. We had only been able to afford before to give out 3 $1,000 scholarships, but because of the success of that fundraiser and Ride with Rotary and just the little things we try to do in the community, we were able to write that into our budget for this year. So it's just really exciting to be
We
able
want
to
to do it
that.
again this year.
Yeah.
It just takes the public showing up and having a good time.
Right.
Correct.
And supporting, in this case, a great cause to help some of our children take that next step.
Well, we try to do all we can do and got to get the word out. But you're right that Boots and Bourbon has turned out to be one of your big fundraisers.
It really has, and I'll tell you, and I'll give a plug for Stephanie and Eddie Wagner. They donated their interior designers and artsy people, and I all I can do is go and stare and say this is incredible. I mean, my stick people come out looking deformed.
Yeah.
But I mean, I go and watch what they do, and they turned a barn into an event center.
Right.
And it was absolutely incredible what Stephanie and Eddie Wagner did. And they wouldn't let us pay them. They didn't charge us a penny. You know, we fed them, but they did it for nothing. Just beautiful people.
Yeah, yeah. Did you ride the bull?
I think I made it 7 seconds.
Hey, that's pretty
But
good.
there's a video out there from last year's Boots and Bourbon where Brian Barber and I
2
were
years
on
ago.
it 2 years ago. And
the fire hall.
apparently that somehow made it to Rotary International because it was...
Well, I think that's part of the fun.
absolutely.
It is.
These things can be fun as well as.
Yeah, they had line dancing and...
They have a line dance instructor, so
Right.
we do about
Yeah,
an
it was
hour
really-
of
it was
that.
really cool,
Tom
man.
Eshelman volunteers his time and does a live auction. That raised
DJ Chun comes and sits up on an old wagon and
Hay wagon,
a hay
yeah.
wagon and DJs the whole night. It's a really good time. I think,
our live auction-
On Cue sponsored the bar and
Yeah.
brought their own bartenders and it was a really Devin Smith
Did the,
and his
catering.
wife did the catering.
Yeah.
It was
Delicious.
just- oh my god,
A
it was
community event.
awesome. And everybody's
It is.
welcome. Everybody's welcome.
And so many of them, just like the interior designers, volunteer their time. So we have more money we're not spending on it that we have to plow back into our community and the world at large.
When we went to the graduation ceremonies at the high schools, when they come to the stage of where they announce the scholarships, it's just amazing the amount of scholarships that go out from organizations like yours and others. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars go out, and they're just local contributions. Local.
Well, I don't think people give our entire community, not just Rotary, but like you said, Kiwanis, Ruritans, Lions Club, and just good old people that just see something happening and
Sure.
they're like, what can I do to help? I don't want my name mentioned. I just want to help. And one of those was at 4-H camp this year. My kids at E. Wilson can't afford to go to 4-H camp. It's a beautiful experience. I just mentioned at my church one day, hey, I'd love to send some kids to camp, and within 3 days, between people at my church and word getting out, I had enough money to send 15 kids to camp from E. Wilson Morrison.
And they're about $700 a pop.
Yeah.
That's significant.
$350, but yeah,
$350? Oh.
$700 to get you two, but
Oh, okay. Maybe that's where,
it's still
that's where I
expensive.
got the number.
It's still-
Because he only-
It's a
he only-
twofer.
if you can send one, you can send two. That's,
Yeah,
that's my
there you go.
But it's just just kids that would otherwise never have that kind of experience.
That's an experience that you'll remember forever.
Yeah.
It was a significant experience for me as a child, and back then we went up in Fort Valley to
Powell's
Powell's
Fort.
which was camping. Well, you were in a camping facility.
Have you ever been there?
No.
I need to
Just
take
an
it
old,
sometime. It's still there. It's just-
bunkhouse, and the toilet was the latrine out back.
Well, it was
you know.
it was an old CCC camp.
Right.
It was an old CC camp, and they turned it into when they knew that they wanted to build this one out here. When Virginia Tech got a bunch of property out at the old remount station,
Right.
They said, well, we want somewhere for the kids to go until then.
Right.
So John Dooley and the Virginia Cooperative Extension Service partnered with, I don't know if it was the U.S. Forestry Service or who that owned the old CC camp, and improved it as much as they could to turn it into a nice 4-H camp, which I loved it. I mean, some of my fondest memories were there. Well, when I think I was 13 or 14 years old was when they started building what I call the resort. And back then, and if you get a
Indoor
chance,
plumbing.
yeah, indoor plumbing. I was
Air
like, wait,
conditioning.
what's with the air conditioning and indoor plumbing, man?
Yeah.
How come I'm not angry all the time?
You didn't know better back then.
You mentioned going to the latrine. That's really an eye opener. I know my grandkids, they're living overseas, and they were in Malaysia, now they're in
Right.
Indonesia. And when they were much younger then, but they did not like the squatty potties, so
Yeah.
No.
a different culture. And using the latrine is a different.
Well,
Right.
part of that in Ghana, and I went there a few years ago, and it just, you talk about a humbling eye opener, and kids straddling boards in these pit latrines, and then what Rotary started doing, which was helping build these microflush toilets, which help turn the stuff into compost,
Right.
and then they can use that to put on their plants and stuff throughout the year. But it's extremely humbling of the things we just don't think twice
We
about.
don't think twice about. You're right.
Yeah,
Well,
we
when
get
is
to
the
support
shred day? That's coming up like
June 27th.
June 27th. So
10
I think it's-
a.m. to 12 noon.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. We want to mention that again. That's June 27th at the fire department right here on Commerce Avenue.
Make sure that's
Oh,
exact.
he's gonna check his
Yeah,
phone.
I want to make sure.
But I think it is. I seen
think
the
that's
banner
right.
down there, so it was driving by. But I want to thank again you guys for all the great things that you
Yep,
do.
10 a.m.
June 27th, right? Okay, Michael says June 27th, 10 to noon. That's something the earliest program that you got going.
Correct.
And so many. But when you see these things advertised on the Royal Examiner and other places, take a look at it. Maybe you can support these activities that our clubs and organizations put here in our community.
The Front Row Cardinals game on July 3rd.
Oh.
Our club and the Front Row Club paid for that. We both sponsored that. It's free entry, no cost for anybody to get in.
We'll work the concessions.
We're working the concession stands. There's the fireworks afterwards that the town puts on, and everybody's welcome. We don't care who you are. We were just happy to do it.
Yeah.
Last year it was full. So
Yes.
get there
It was
early is
packed.
my advice. It was absolutely packed. Great game, win or lose. It's a great outing. It's really Americana in a small town.
Nothing better than going to a baseball game in your community, is there?
Nothing out of
And then the fireworks after the town puts on once a year, and you got a front row seat there where they put them
Yeah,
off.
that's
at,
great.
so.
We try to capture it. We're broadcasting the Cardinal games on the Royal
Oh,
Examiner.
okay.
That's awesome.
And we tried to get the fireworks, but the roof was in the way. Yeah. So we'll have to think about that this
But when
year.
it rains, that roof is handy, and when it's sunny. So
It's great.
we're thankful
Yeah.
for having
They're
it.
they have a lot of games this week, 5 home games. A game tonight. The Knights of Columbus are sponsoring that one.
That's
So
awesome.
you can get in free tonight, too. So the Cardinals is a great, you can watch Major League Baseball right here in Front Row.
It's a good wood.
That's the way to look at it.
Yeah,
A lot of these guys move on to Major League, so
do.
it's
They do.
great.
They do. It's a win-win.
Yeah, it's a great
It's a
thing.
win for those young men to showcase their skills and improve their skills, and for our community to see this level of entertainment in baseball.
All right. Well, again, we appreciate you guys coming in and filling us in on what's
Appreciate
been
you.
going on with Rotary.
Well, thank you
Thanks
for
again.
having us.